Hey, you there! I want to remind everybody that if you end up liking this video, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. And right now, YouTube says that over 90% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so it would really help, and with that...
Hello everybody, I'm Joel Homie, your guys' host for another great episode of the Joel Homie Show series, Gaming Thursday, where today we are back in the Fallout 4 universe, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I built my armory. So specifically, as you can see here right behind me, if I go this way I believe, you can actually see I have an entire armory set up here that holds all of my special valuable weapons that I want to sort of act as if they were in sort of like a confined area where the other settlers in the settlement, in this case it being Sanctuary, can actually get to, like legendary weapons and just special things like I recently got the Nuka World DLC, and you get the special sort of grenade from the different overbosses, or the grenades rather, not just one, you actually get 3, that I wanted to keep safe as if I was actually trying to keep them away from the rest of the settlers here and keep as a valuable weapon. So I've actually sort of set up this whole entire thing behind me, of which I actually featured in last episode of the series, where we actually took a look at my entire Sanctuary build progress as of last week. I haven't made much progress overall since last week, but I thought I would show off my armory because I've never really built an armory before, and this is actually one of my first times treating it as a thing that I really put a lot of work into and spent a lot of time actually organizing everything and putting thought into it. So let's go ahead and just get into first person and take a look at everything here. So on the entrance here, you can see here just has a little restricted area, authorized personnel keep out, or unauthorized actually, and that is just sort of make it seem more like a restricted area. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn off the radio so that you guys can hear me, and we'll go ahead and start taking a closer look. So upon first inspection, you can see here off to the left we have some special items like a legendary super sledge. We have a full Q that's a legendary. We have the special sword. I've never actually pronounced that name, so I apologize if I pronounce this all kinds of horrible. This is the shish kebab. The shish kebab, I believe that's actually what it's called. Wait, I'm not reading that, am I? Oh, it is. That's the shish kebab. I've never really pronounced that name. And then here we have Cetos, a shiny sludger, which is one of the special items that you get from a NPC in the Nuka World DLC. And then here we just have a Fatman with no further modifications. This is just the one that you can actually find off of a raider. And then over here on the right, or to the right of what I just took a look at, this is the first of the 3 cabinets here that actually feature a lot of different sort of items here. We have another one over here and one here that features some different stuff, which I'll take a look at in just a minute as we sort of make our way around here. So this first one, on this first little sort of cubby, or sort of like this first shelf, we actually have all of the grenades and mines, or anything related to that, like homing beacons, which you actually get from the Japanese, or actually no, excuse me, what am I saying? The Chinese little submarine that you can actually loot and get some different things from doing side missions. You have the artillery smoke grenades, and then some other things that I find quite funny, like the nuke mine and the nuke grenade, which just sounds kind of hilarious. And then this is actually where I keep all of the grenades and stuff. Like here you can see I was talking about the special fragmentation grenades, the MIRVs that you get from the overbosses in the Nuka World DLC, or excuse me, actually the pack, or well, not specifically the pack, but actually the raider gang leaders that you get all of these grenades from. The overboss, of course, technically speaking, being myself, but as you can see, and since I have 3, I did decide to kill all of the leaders and get all of them for myself. And then you have all of the other mines and stuff here, showing that this is a shelf that is going to have all of the sort of grenades and mines and stuff like that. And then on the next shelf, we actually have a similar setup, but with actual guns. So these are all legendary items, excluding the flare gun. That's just something that you get from Tristan Garvey very early on in the game, which I've never even found myself using it, but I do know that it can actually be useful if you need help from the Minutemen. And then down here we have some legendary items, just some random ones that aren't really all that special. And then we have the Sword of Wonders, which is another weapon that you get from the Nuka World DLC from Kitty Kingdom. And then here is a bunch of actual, not legendary weapons, but rather actually modifications. These are actually just bad modifications. I don't believe any of these are actually too good, but at the time, I needed a space to put them without putting them in a bunch of junk, so I decided to put them here. But in the future, you could actually decide to turn this into a box where you put all of your legendary weapons, but I tend to like to be sort of thinking in-universe and not put too awful much in these little containers, considering that this is just a footlocker, and putting in an insane amount of weapons in here seems kind of unrealistic, but most people don't really mind about that. And then up here on the top shelf, this is where we have a lot of actual legendary weapons, so here we have a bunch of different various ones that too many to actually name off and read, because all of the names are very long. Like here we've got a Junkie's automatic pipe rifle, and there's a bunch of other ones in there, and I believe actually further back we have some non-legendary ones. Like here you can see we just have a gamma gun, so just special weapons generally up there. And then moving right here is our second shelf that we'll take a look at. So, and for those of you that know that you can actually store stuff in here, these are actually empty. I don't know why there's a flip lighter in there, but usually these are empty. Well, Strong always has a comment on me actually rummaging through these, but anyway, both of these seem to have flip lighters in there. I'm kind of confused as to why that is. But anyway, so this shelf actually has the Gatling laser on the top, which I have modified just a little bit. And then down here, this is ammunition, going all the way from normal ammunition to flamer fuel, mini nukes, missiles. And then this fusion core I actually just put here when I was decorating and putting all of the decorations here. But my actual fusion cores I actually store in this little container next to where I actually work on my personal suit of power armor, which is just a Brotherhood of Steel T60 suit, of which I actually just looted off of a Brotherhood of Steel Knight, because in this playthrough I did decide to stick with the Institute. And then here we actually have a bunch of legendary melee items, like we have a funny little baton stick, or actually I can't really see what it's called there. So it's just a quick draw baton, so these are all legendaries. Like here we have a freezing lead pipe and some different switchblades, a machete, we have a Deathclaw gauntlet right there, and then we have the Ripper right there, and then these are actually not legendaries, but rather actually things that I put here a while back when I was decorating and don't want to move, because I'd have to remove everything here and redo it, so I've just decided to avoid the hassle. So here we have a normal missile launcher, even well I never use this because I have a extremely good upgraded missile launcher now. And then here we just have an automatic plasma rifle sitting right behind the Western Revolver, which is another thing that you get from the Nuka World DLC. And then turning around here, we actually have another shelf that is actually not limited to weapons, but rather actually apparel. But right in front of that is the minigun and the flamer. These are just larger weapons like the Fat Man that I can't really store in a shelf. There's Dogmeat doing what he does best, rummaging around and messing up stuff. And then here, this is actually limited to, well, refreshments and apparel items like clothing. So in here, if I ever need to dress up like a new settler for being a guard, I will come in here, and as you can see here, we have armor pieces, just some legendary things that you get off like legendary raiders, just the normal sort of typical legendary items that I'll usually put on my guards. And of course the two guards that I have right now actually have the very nice armor like this, that are actually the combat armor, but if I needed to, I will just put things like this on them. And then we have a bunch of other stuff here, going all the way from army helmets to Brotherhood of Steel stuff to suits. There's all kinds of apparel items in here. I just generally put apparel in here that I actually decide to like. Most apparel things that I don't really find interesting or I feel I won't need ever, I'll just probably leave them or drop them, and well, as I said, just leave them and not pick them up. And then here is a more apparel items, just ones that I found fascinating as far as looks. So here we actually have a Field Scribe's armor, which I put here because in my last playthrough, most recently on console, on Xbox Edition, I actually did not wear Kellogg's outfit as I am here. I actually wore the Field Scribe's armor because I thought it looked cool with the red sleeves, because my favorite color is red. And then right below that we have a Corsa uniform, of which I do have more in here. I believe I actually have 2 more. And then here we have some legendary Raider armor pieces, a synth armor piece that is legendary, and some more legendaries there. And then the Minuteman General's uniform and the General's hat. And then above that we have Oswald's top hat, which goes along with the Sword of Wonders, which is from the Nuka World DLC. And then here we have a Submariner hat, which actually comes along with a sword that I actually have over here. Oh boy, my companions are getting in my way here, but the sword that actually goes along with that souvenir hat is actually right here. It's a Chinese officer sword, which you can get inside of that Chinese submarine, as I had said just a moment ago when I was talking about some things over here. And then to the side of it, we actually have a little cooler with a bunch of stealth boys, 6 actually, and then 2 more off to the side. And then you'll notice a tool chest here. This is because before I added this, when I would walk around here, I'd actually bump into the things and it would I would phase through the sort of like the shelf here and it would knock stuff around. So I put this here so that I can't knock into it, which is why I say that I put more thought into this armory than I usually would in the past. And then right above that we have all of the Nuka-Cola that I've actually sort of received from the Nuka World DLC. So as you can see here in this cooler, if I can actually get into it without actually grabbing the stuff inside of the cabinet. I don't know if I can actually do it. There you go. So you can see here I do have a bunch of different Nuka-Cola in here. Like you can see I have a lot of Nuka-Cola, Nuka Cherry, Dark Orange, Quartz, Victory, Wild, Grape, and then we do have a Quantum there, of which obviously I did defeat all of the leaders of the different gangs in Nuka World, which is a very hard mission for someone like myself that's only at level 45, so I needed a lot of Nuka-Cola Quantum to keep myself going without dying, of which even well, taking into consideration I had this, I did die several times, even with Nuka-Cola Quantum. And then above that here is my highly upgraded missile launcher, which does have the upgrades so you can quickly fire off 3 missiles rather than only 1, like the older, not upgraded missile launcher that's chilling back here. But anyway, other than that, that is actually my armory in its whole entire sort of form as of the moment. I thought I would show this because even while there are armories that are undeniably better than this, I do really like this armory because, as I said, it's the first one that I've actually put time and effort into making, well, for lack of a better word, good, and not just something where I just throw weapons down on the floor, which I have done in the past. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I really like you sharing Fallout 4 content, as Fallout 4 is one of my favorite video games, as I have been playing it for quite a long time. But with all that being said, if you guys enjoyed today's video,